Live from the town square of the Crossroads Center, welcome to the 10,000th episode of 100 Huntley Street.
And we want to welcome you to this historic occasion. Television history is happening at this moment. We welcome you and all of you around the world and across Canada to this, the 10,000th episode of 100 Huntley Street. I'm John Hull, and on behalf of all of our partners and all of our board members, employees, supporters, everyone, past, present, and future that's a part of this program and this ministry, we want to welcome you and welcome all of you here. We're going to have a great time. Let's begin, first of all, by giving appreciation to the folks that the Lord led many years ago to start this ministry, and back in 1977, in June, launched the daily program we know as 100 Huntley Street. I speak, of course, of our friends, brother and sister in Christ, David and Norma Jean Maines.
Norma Jean is holding a sheet of paper in her hand. What does it say on the paper in the top left hand?
This is the very first rundown of 100 Huntley Street, and it's
I practiced this.
001.
That's right.
The first program.
There you go.
I didn't know how to put the number down. I thought, well, 01 doesn't look right, or just 1. So I put 001.
But that means we were going to go at least to 999 instead of 9,999, which you hosted yesterday, and now 10,000 telecasts.
That is so good.
Well,
Norma Jean went to York University to study television production now, just to get ready for 100 Huntley Street.
I think it prepared her well. And not only did the two of you through these years bring wonderful, encouraging stories, but you had a great army around you, behind the camera,
certainly did.
And also in front of the camera. And behind us are some very important personalities and communicators, family members through the years who have presented Christ and encouraging stories. We're going to get to know more about their experiences on Huntley.
And the front row.
And as well, the front row. But let's welcome as well these folks that anchored for years, 100 Huntley Street.
And also, I want to, John, I want to say a very big thanks and mention at least 3 Jewish friends. You know, the Global Television Network has carried us for 10,000 episodes. And we have some wonderful, wonderful people out there that were the owners and operators of the Global Television Network, and then, of course, came along to Izzy Asper, and then to the present ownership. And Global has given us an extra half hour this morning. How about that? Thank you, Global Television. And now, how many know there is just a little bit of excitement about baseball here in the Toronto area? Anybody know? Well, on Monday night, I think he's the only Cy Young winner to pitch a knuckleball. Straighten me out, knuckleball pitcher. And that is R.A. Dickey. Now, what people don't know about R.A. Dickey, you need to know. And this television program is all about what he's about, not the baseball part, but as a man. Cheryl Weber went down to Rogers Stadium to interview R.A. Dickey. Listen.
Where would I be, or who would I be if I hadn't had help in confronting some of the things that happened in the darker parts of my life? You know, I was a breath away from, committing suicide in 2008. I was in my car. I had run a garden hose from the tailpipe of my car into the driver's side window and stuffed a towel in the crack, and I was a moment away from turning the key because I had had enough. I'd had enough of the pain, and I had had enough of of all of that. And right before I was about to turn the key, I heard, you know how you have these moments in your life where you feel like you audibly hear God. They're not every day maybe, but there are times when you know it's Him. And there was a time right before I hit that key where I felt like God said, don't do it, I have something else for you. And in that moment, the next day I went to counseling. And that was like the moment, the end of myself, you know, where I came to the end of myself. And I had to be brought to that place. God had brought me to my knees. And I had tried to do it on my own enough. And he had had enough. And it was a time when it was time for surrender, and that surrender is what gave me my life back.
Well, you know, David, he pitched such a brilliant game, and it was a team effort, and there
Shame
was some.
they pulled him out early.
Well, there was, but you know, here's what he said. Here's what he said, and this is huge, and it's current and relevant as to what's going on in culture right now. But I think what he said also reflects your philosophy of ministry. Here's what R.A. Dickey said after Game 4. It's amazing what you can accomplish when you don't care who gets the credit. And I think that embodies that statement. That's a contemporary leader and celebrity right now that people are talking about, but speaking great truth, and it embodies what you and Norma Jean have given to all of us who are here, and we're very, very grateful. Would you agree with that statement?
It was 1985, same level of series that the Blue Jays were in, when our then Premier of Ontario, David Peterson, said, if Kansas City wins, I'll put a piano on the front steps of Queen's Park and I'll sing and play the Star-Spangled Banner. Okay, I brought John Ashcroft up here, and he had he's singing right now. The governor of Missouri, ladies and gentlemen. Let's listen.
Glorious and free, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
That was Governor John Ashcroft, who came up for the final game of that series. And I've got something else. John, come on back here for a moment. Come on back here for a moment. I've got something here that really says it about 100 Huntley Street. Now, can you see to read that plaque down there without your glasses?
No, I can't.
Okay,
So
I'll
can you
read it
just,
for you.
thank you very much.
Okay.
I'm going to put my glasses on to make sure you get it right.
Okay, no, you read it. You read it. This is the main, and I'll turn this around after.
All right.
But this is the main reason we exist.
Jesus, quote unquote, not a denomination or a doctrine, is the reason for 10,100 Huntley Street telecast, October 14th, 2015. Jesus, not a denomination or a doctrine.
And at the top it says to Dr. John Hull, the day Sir John A. found Jesus from the Ottawa Citizen by Bob Harvey, a well-researched piece, and a lot of people think he was a drunk for his whole life. That's not true. For the last few years, he was on the wagon, and he was serving Jesus. I preached in the church in Kingston. They have his pew roped off. The minister at the time, many years ago, said John A. never missed a Sunday in his latter years.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
David. Thank you.
That's
Thank
yours.
You. Thank you for the Prime Minister. Thank you, sir.
And I have one more of those, okay? Now this one, our local member of Parliament, Mike Wallace, is here today in the front row. Mike, stand up, please. And Mike was going to give this to the Prime Minister. But a little birdie told me the Prime Minister is in Southern Ontario, and the moment I'm off the air, I'm going to jump in my car, and I'm going to go find him and try to give it to him myself. But Mike, if I don't succeed in giving it to him myself, not publicly, privately, then I'll be over to your office to give you this. Mike Wallace, ladies and gentlemen, our Burlington MP.